at some point I was messing around with married women and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna mention names, whatever, because I believe they're still married and everything.
Shit.
But this was like
married.
I think like 2 years, a year and a half ago. I had met this person through a friend, and mind you, this girl was like, she's like 3-4 years older than me.
Okay.
And she would come around, and eventually her and I caught up, like, oh, like, we have a lot of things in common. You're going through that. Like, I have my own things that I'm going through. We had same likings. We would obviously, like, hang out. Her husband knew everything. Like, he knew about me. He knew who I was or anything like that. Yeah. I don't think he ever, like, got to find out, like, like, exactly if me and her, like, he ever did anything. But at some point, like, we ended up hooking up.
How did this
She
happen?
told her, long story short, she literally told her husband that she needed to get an oil change on her car.
Oil change, all right.
Yeah. So she ended up so I did end up changing her oil today, but like obviously more things happened than that. And she always told me like she was willing to leave her husband like to have something for me.
Damn.
Mind you, I low-key thought she was being serious about it. Okay. But at some point, like I just started catching on to her bullshit. And I was like, oh, this girl's not serious. Like obviously she's like in love with this guy, and it was what it was. I didn't really like bother to like reach out to her husband, because I'm not that type of guy. Like, whatever you guys are going through, that's between y'all.
Yeah.
Just because I took place doesn't mean I'm gonna go out and be like, hey, your wife wants a divorce. But she did make it seem like she was getting a divorce. She said, I'm gonna file paperwork and everything. Like she would tell me like she was not happy with him, and I was just like, interesting.
Yeah. No. Okay, so...
Wait, how long were you with her? How long were you guys messing around before you realized she was bullshitting?
Like, I want to say 3 to 6 months. Somewhere in between that span. Just because I don't remember, like, exactly. Okay. Mm-hmm. But, like, all her friends, like, knew she was married and everything. And they thought her and I were just friends, kicking it like nothing. But, like, little did they know,
oh my God.
All this was behind.
That's crazy. Okay, so did you know she was married from the jump?
Yeah, I knew she was married. Okay. I'm telling you, she would literally come to me, tell me her little problems with her husband, and I mean, I kind of was like, how do you call it? An arm that she could cry on, a shoulder that she could cry on.
What is that saying? Yeah. Hold on, let me think. There's a saying.
A shoulder you cry on is a dick you can sit on.
Oh yeah. A shoulder you can cry on is a dick you can ride on.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so would you say this was more of like a trauma buddy? Because you were going through your shit and she was going through her shit? Just saying.
I'm not gonna lie. She did help me in certain ways of like, she kind of was the reason. She helped me like get my class A because, I didn't really have anybody to study with. So she would be like, hey, like, I'll help you study. Like, we would go to dinner together. And not all the time it was like her and I, like, we were trying to hook up or anything. But sometimes we would just genuinely like just hang out and just vibe and have conversations. But in a way, yeah, you could say that she was more like a trauma buddy.
Okay, so question. Hold on.
Did you guys like kick it in public and not think like people wouldn't trip to see you guys, or?
But I mean, we wouldn't do anything in public. Like, we wouldn't hold hands in public. Like, we wouldn't kiss in public. It was all like, if we ever did that, it was in our cars or like, close behind doors.
What's your question?
No, I was just wondering, like, if you're going out, like, even if you're just pretending, it's like nothing and you're just friends, like, you didn't think that people would be like, that's kind of weird. Like, isn't she married, bruh?
Yeah.
We wouldn't really kick in her town. I'm not going to say what town she's from or anything like that.
So that makes more sense.
Yeah. So, she lives
in different areas.
You smart as hell. I give you
She lived, maybe from me, she probably lived like an hour away.
Damn.
So her and I would kick it, like, generalizing, we would kick it, like, Manteca area, Modesto area.
Oh, okay. I fuck with that.
Yeah.
So, question, was she just in an open relationship, or she was just cheating on her husband?
She was just cheating on her husband.
Damn. Okay, so y'all made this agreement, or, like, did it kind of just, like, happen?
It kind of just happened, and at some point we're just like, okay, like, we're just gonna keep doing this, and if something happens, something happens. And then that's when at some point she was just like, oh, like I'm not in love with my husband. Like, you know, he's never around, or if he's home, she's like, he would just come home and just do his own little thing, and I would just be doing my own little thing. So when she would get out of the house sometimes and like hang out with me and spend time with me.
Okay, so are you guys still friends?
No, we're not.
What happened?
At some point we just stopped contacting each other. It's just,
She grew up.
it just, I don't know what happened. I never really bothered like to search her up. At some point, I saw she unfollowed me or something like that, and that's when I'm telling you, that's when I started like catching on things. Like she would unfollow me, but then she would still text me. And at that point, I was just like, I'll just block her. And then at some point, I tried reaching out to see how she was, but I don't know if she was butthurt that I had blocked her on IG. But then she blocked me on my number, so it's just kind of a mutual thing that we just kind of stopped talking to each other.
Damn, that's crazy. Okay, so how long were you a sneaky link for?
Like 3 to 6 months.
Oh, okay, so it was the 3 to 6 months? Sorry.
We caught on very quick. Honestly, like getting to know her wise, like where we caught on that we vibe probably like a week. We're just like, okay, this girl started feeling me. I started feeling this girl. I would go to school and Stockton to get my class A, and yeah, we'd hang out there and all that.
I have a question. Now that it's done and over with, do you feel like any remorse for doing it?
Nah, because you live and you learn.
I love it.
You live and you learn. Just because I went through all that doesn't make me think that all women are the same.
Okay.
Some
I
girls
was gonna ask.
deal with their problems differently than others. Maybe it's not the right way she should have done it. She could essentially have been like, hey, I'm not in love with you. Like, we shouldn't be together.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't blame her because, I mean, her husband's a CHP. Guy's probably making 6 figures a year. You know, like,
She
I mean, yeah, I don't blame her. At the end of the day, if I found somebody like that, like let's say I was a guy and my wife was a CHP officer and she was making that much, I don't blame her. She didn't really have to pay for her bills or anything. Like, he would take care of all that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I hear you. So a sugar daddy life is okay.
Sugar daddy life is okay.
Okay. So now that it's over, would you ever do that again? Not necessarily with her, but with somebody else.
Nah, because I mean, like I said, you live and you learn. Like,
Okay.
At that point, I'm to the age where I'm like, if I was in that position, I wouldn't want to be put through that, or essentially think, essentially think that all women do that again, would do that to all sorts of guys.
Okay, so you wouldn't say this gave you trust issues? You would say, like, it was just, like, lesson learned, perfect, experienced it, now on to the next?
Regarding trust issues, I've always had trust issues, but it's always been a thing. But when that happened, it kind of just made me realize that, in a way, all women are the same, but at the same time, they're not. Some people grew up different than others.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not their fault that they don't get that love that they deserve from their partner, and they look for it other place wise, and it's up to you if you give it to them or not. It's like temptation that it gives in. It's like the devil speaking to you.
Yeah, no, that's facts. That is big facts. Okay, so I know you heard my sneaky link episode. So would you consider your sneaky link in this situation?
Would I consider her in a situation? Yeah, because she wouldn't get anything what she felt like that she deserved, and that's why she would look for other places where she felt like, okay, that's what I deserve. But at some point, I am assuming she came into sense and was like, oh, I'm set up with this guy. Like, not that I don't have my shit together, but I do feel like I have my shit together. But a lot of women are scared of change. Not a lot of women. A lot of people are scared of change. Sometimes you don't want to start all over with somebody because you have all these memories, all these things that you've gone through with this person, and a lot of people aren't willing to start all over. That's why a lot of toxic relationships exist, because people don't want to start something over with somebody else.
No, definitely. Yeah. I definitely agree on that one. Hold on, I had another question. Okay, so you said you do have trust issues, though. So why do you have trust issues?
It's both sides, just because of stories that I've heard from girls that I've talked to in the past, but at the same time, stories that homies have told me of, like, you know, at the end of the day,
have they lied?
There's no homies
like, you know,
who has lied, my friends or the girls?
has both of them, both parties?
In a situation, yes, they have. I had a situation once where I ended up finding out that I had a sneaky link, right? And I pretty much had to cut her off because she started acting as if I was her man. But at some point, I found out that she was hooking up with one of my homies, and they tried hiding it from me. I ended up finding about it, and I was just like, yo, like, y'all didn't have to hide it from me. Like, we're grown ass men. Like, you guys could just tell me. I wouldn't have got bothered about it. But they just tried hiding it and make it seem like it didn't happen. But I had heard it, like, from multiple people until at some point I kind of confronted them, and I was just like, yo, like, I don't care if y'all, like, you know.
Yeah.
But
Damn.
yeah.
Okay, so would you consider that girl who did that try? Because I would.
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, I'm not going to put names out there, but you know this person.
Oh, shit. Don't put me in the hot seat. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let you think who it is, but you know this person.
Stop. That's crazy. Well, I'm going to pray because that's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.